Welcome. My name is Stephanie, and I will be conducting a 60-minute prenatal yoga sequence that is actually going to be focused around back pain relief. And back pain with pregnancy is something that is very common, and so I always try to do multiple sequences in order for my moms to have some different options and some ways to change up their routine, especially if they are at different portions or different areas of their pregnancy. So please move about the way that feels most comfortable to you. You can use modifications. We'll go through a couple different exercises to do so. In the meantime, let's go over some of the props you'll need. You will need a blanket. Make sure whatever blanket you grab is easy to manipulate and fold. You don't want anything that is actually too thick and that will be hard for you to fold into something small like this. So I'm gonna leave that to the side because I'm gonna use that shortly. And then you're gonna use 2 blocks. And I like to keep the blocks near my mat. You can leave one on each side. Because I'm trying to allow you to see what I'm doing, I'm gonna put both blocks on one side. And then grab a bolster. Make sure your bolster is nice and firm. You want something strong that won't be easily folding or buckling if you put it against something. So, and then you can always grab a different pillow if you want to use it if we do any of the poses with us putting our head on the pillow. You can grab a different type of bolster if you'd like. Some alternatives to our props. If you want to grab a bolster but you don't have an actual yoga bolster, you can grab a very firm pillow. You would have to have a pillow that's pretty strong, but if you have one, go ahead and grab it. You can also grab the back of a couch cushion is great. And then for the blocks, you can grab a paperback book. You want to make sure if you're going to grab books that you grab books that you can remove. If it has a cover on it, remove the slip on top of it, the sleeve, just because the sleeve can slip when you're using the block. And just be mindful if you're using a book, you're not going to be able to stand it up because obviously the bindings won't hold up on the book for you to have a firm grip. So you would have to get multiple books in order for you to stack them up high. So just keep that in mind. If you have a dictionary, get multiple dictionaries. That's sometimes a good way to go. Before we start our class, I want you to make sure that you have your water nearby. Stay hydrated. When we go through these different sequences, we're moving the body, and if you've done yoga in the past, it may not feel like you're doing a lot for your body, but you are burning calories and you are definitely you're breathing, and when you breathe, you're losing water. And so that's why we have to make sure that we have enough water to meet our needs. So just keep that in mind. So go ahead and grab your blanket, and I'm gonna have long sleeves on today simply because it is a little cool over here. So if you need to, make sure that you're nice and warm. You can even grab extra blankets and have them around in case there is a yoga posture that you would like to put a blanket on top of you. Our movements are they're not going to be fast paced. We're not going at a vinyasa flow type speed. We're taking our time. We're really trying to focus on the areas of our bodies that might need a little extra conditioning and love. So I don't want you to feel like we're going to rush through these movements and that I'm going to be snapping my fingers. It's not that kind of class. We already are dealing with something called back pain, and so we don't want to make it strenuous by hurting ourselves, by going slow and taking our time. We're making sure that we have ourselves in the right positions for each of the postures. So just make sure that you take care of your body and you listen to your body and the limits that it's giving you. And little by little, the more that you move, the more that you'll feel the loosening of those muscles if they're very tight. So and one more thing before we go forward, when we have back pain, I want you to try to pay attention to what may have aggravated it. If your baby is actually laying sunny side up, So even if they're head down or breech, either or, they can lay themselves onto your back. So they're resting their heads on your spine. So obviously, if your baby's breech, the discomfort you're going to feel might be a little bit higher up. It won't be lower back, but your lower back pain, if baby is head down, baby's head is probably resting on your spine. And so let's just remember that if that's the case, I'll be showing you a couple exercises and I'll be pointing out if your baby's sunny side up, this may relieve the discomfort. It's also called back labor. If you were to be in labor and you felt that discomfort, is because baby is actually spine to spine to you. And for labor, we want baby to turn, still staying head down, but we want the baby's spine to be facing our belly. So spine to spine is what causes a lot of low back pain as baby gets bigger and you progress through your pregnancy. So just keep that in mind, and I'll show you and point out some of the different postures that you can get into and the poses that may relieve that kind of discomfort as you move along in your pregnancy. So go ahead and sit on your blanket. You're gonna sit on the edge of the blanket, so you're right at the edge, so your pelvis is tilted forward. And while you're in this posture right now, all you're gonna do is you're gonna sit in easy pose. In easy pose, you can sit like this. You're gonna crisscross your legs. It doesn't matter which foot you put on, what leg you put on top of the other. If not, you can sit in easy pose with your foot on top of your inner thigh. That's also a variation of this posture. So sit however feels good for you today. And don't worry if your foot isn't this close to your body. Obviously, you have a baby belly in front of you. So if you are further along in your pregnancy and you're unable to bring your foot this close, or you don't have the flexibility of it, that's okay. I want you to make sure that you are practicing for you. You are not trying to practice your moves like I'm doing them in the sense of flexibility. We're all in different phases of our yoga practice. If this is a first-time class for you, I hope you enjoy it and I hope you move forward in order to really enjoy the benefits of yoga. If you've been doing yoga a long time and you are extremely flexible and you're noticing in pregnancy that your body's not quite moving the way it used to, please give yourself grace, give yourself love, because you are doing so much work right now. So make sure that you are just giving yourself the love and attention that it needs, and the room for it to grow in this way, in this new way that you're finding. So go ahead and sit in easy pose. And right now we're just gonna go ahead and close our eyes. And I move my back. I like to move my shoulders and back to back or side to side, just because I like the feeling it gives me on my back. Then while you're sitting here, I want you to just go ahead and breathe naturally through your nose, in and out through your nose. If you've ever taken a yoga class before, prior to being pregnant, you may have had a couple classes where they had you hold your breath. They would count and then count out. I don't want you to hold your breath at all during this class. While you're pregnant, the goal is to always inhale and exhale, not hold your breath. Holding your breath not only puts pressure on certain muscles in your pelvis, but it also hinders the ability for your body to get fresh oxygen into your system and into to the baby. So keeping that in mind, please make sure that you just keep taking these big deep breaths. As baby gets bigger, you may be feeling like you cannot take as big a breath as you did before. So when you sit up tall, you're making room for baby. Bring those shoulders up and back, and your chest is open. So that heart chakra is open, and you're sitting up tall and really just sitting and breathing. On the next inhale, inhale through the nose, and then open the mouth and let it all go. Inhale again. Exhale through the mouth. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. With all of those inhales and exhales, I wanted you to really try to inhale more with each time that you tried it. So I really want you to feel your lungs expanding. And it's something that, it's something that when we have our babies growing, we don't really feel like we have enough room to breathe. And that's because our diaphragm is obviously being compromised in space, so it doesn't have enough room for it to move, and then it doesn't allow our lungs to obviously expand the way we want them to. So really taking that moment and being conscious of our breath. We're always running around. We have constantly lists of things to do. So I want you to remember that as you go through all these phases of pregnancy, that when you come to your mat, it's an area for you to just let everything go. And it's a great way to start our practice, but it's also a great habit to form before you become a mom. Putting one hand on your baby, one over your heart, and just breathing in and out through your nose. Let's set our intention for class today. Inhale and exhale, maybe feeling baby moving. You may feel baby moving on the outside, maybe not, maybe you just feel flutters. If you haven't felt flutters yet, don't worry, they're coming. Flutters feel, the best way I can describe it, it almost feels like you've got a little like fish fin touching the inside of your belly. That was the best description I could find. That's what a flutter felt like. And obviously those movements will change as baby gets bigger, but just so you know what you're looking for. And so our intention for class today is going to be growth. Obviously not a physical growth. Our growth is going to be a mental growth. Growth into this new amazing role of motherhood. Growth into a life where we no longer simply walk our path for ourselves, but we're walking in hopes to care for another. And so hope is going to be our intention today. Go ahead and inhale the arms up over the head. And on the exhale, go ahead, and twist to the right. Bring the right hand behind you. You can blink your eyes open. Bring the left hand in front of your legs. And I'm not asking you to do a huge twist here. You're just turning as much as you can. And then you can turn your head. With each exhale, you're going to turn your head a little bit more. Your goal is to try to look behind you, but that's okay if you're not there yet. If you're just looking to your side, that's fine. Just be mindful of where you are today. And don't worry where you should be or where you want to be. Your goal is really where you are today. Inhale your arms up over your head. Exhale, turning and twisting to the other side. We're just waking up the spine here. And by stimulating the spine, we're letting go a little bit of that anxiety we might be holding on to, stress that we might have in our bodies. And our lower back, it does a lot of work. It's really a key part of keeping us upright and making sure that we have the proper movements, our gait. But on top of that, when you have this new baby growing inside you, your center of gravity is off. It's different from what it used to be. So our lower back has a tendency, inhale your arms up high, exhale, bring your hands by your side. Our lower back has a tendency to then get pushed in. So we have a different curvature to our spine as our bellies get a little bit bigger. And so we start waddling, our gait changes, our movement changes. And so our lower back takes a huge hit as well. So even though your lower back discomfort could come from baby positioning, it can also, it definitely is coming from the changes your body's going through. So go ahead and bring your right hand to the mat. You're gonna bend that right elbow and inhale that left arm up and over. And I want you to make sure you're opening yourself up to the left side. Your gaze is to the left. Excuse myself on these yawnings, my goodness. And then inhale back to center, bringing that left hand down. Right hand is going to come up and over. You're going to bend that left elbow. Inhale that right arm up and over. Inhale back. And then before we move forward, we're just gonna move our shoulders back. And I really love, even though this class is about back pain, we have to remember that everything is connected in our bodies. And so by moving your shoulders, and now we're gonna move our shoulders forward, by moving our shoulders, we're really getting those muscles in the upper back, also in our shoulders. We're moving all of those so that if there's any tension we're holding onto, we're starting to loosen those muscles. Go ahead and you can bring them back to stillness. And so when you move those muscles, you're preparing not only your body for movement, but also getting the tension out of the shoulders and the neck and the upper back, because if we fix the issue of lower back pain, we have to also remember that the back also has the upper portion, and we don't want to ignore it. So back pain in general, usually when you're pregnant, it's really the lower back that's really uncomfortable, but the entire back needs to get love and attention as well, and the shoulders and the neck. And then before we keep going, we're going to go ahead and bring our right ear to our right shoulder, and then move that left ear to the left shoulder. Again, right ear to the right shoulder. Feeling that nice stretch of the neck. And then that left ear to the left shoulder. Coming back to center, we're going to go ahead and change our position. I'm just going to make sure that everything is good to go on the camera. And we are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and move my blanket, and you'll see I have my notes in front of me, so excuse me for moving around. So we're going to go ahead and get into a standing forward fold, and this is a very great posture for releasing the tension in the lower back, and you can obviously do this anywhere. What I want you to definitely have nearby are your props, just in case you need them, just in case it's just too much for you, especially if you're newer to the yoga practice. So go ahead and bring your feet hip distance apart. You're welcome to bring your feet all the way to the edge of your mat if you want the extra space and the extra stretch. So you're going to bring a slight bend to your knees, and you're going to let your head fall. This is also like a rag doll, and you're going to grab opposite elbows. So you're pretty much framing your face, and then you're going to just sway side to side, and you're going to bend each knee as you sway to that side. And then a lot of people have a tendency to believe that this stretch is about the legs, that we're stretching out our legs more than anything. But this is all about stretching the spine. So when you let go of the head, you can already feel that tension in the spine almost just melting off of your back. This feels great. So then go ahead, bring your feet hip distance apart if you'd like. If you want to keep them as far apart as they were before, go right ahead. Bring a block to the center. And we're going to bring our left hand onto the block. We're going to bend our left knee, straighten the right leg, and inhale that right arm high. And you can stay right here, or you can flip the palm, and you can take a wrap right here and bringing that shoulder back. You're opening and twisting, and you're also giving room for baby. Inhale that right arm high, and now we're going to switch our sides, bringing that right hand down, bending the right knee, straighten out the left knee, and inhale the left arm high. Flip the palm and take a wrap if you need the extra stretch, or you just want to challenge yourself today. Keeping your eyes open all the time, and remember to breathe. You're not holding your breath. Inhale that left arm high, left hand comes back down, and then go ahead and move your props out of the way. Next up, we're going to do our malasana, or a deep squat. So to get into this, I'm going to turn, you can do it facing, like going lengthwise on your mat, but I just want you to see what I'm doing. You're going to bring your heels in and your toes out, and you're going to bring a block right under your pelvis, and you're going to bring your hands to heart center. You're using your elbows to push your knees away, as you can see. You don't have to have the block under you if you do not want to. Here's what it looks like without the block. And you can sway side to side if you'd like. It opens up the hips. This is actually not only good for your back, it takes away that tension from your lower back, but it also opens up the hips. And it actually prepares you for labor, and it helps bring baby down naturally. So you're using your own gravity to bring baby down. And it feels really good to stretch. If you'd like, you can leave that block there. Don't forget, you have to do this in the form that feels most comfortable for you. You can have another block in front of you if you'd like. We're going to do a quick twist once again on this side. I love to stimulate the spine. I find it to be a great way to interact with the nervous system, and not only that, it relieves a lot of stress and tension that we might be holding on to. So it'll calm the body as well. So you can keep a block under and then grab the other block and put it in front of you. If you don't need the extra block in front of you, this stretch, you can just put your hand, we're starting with the left, bring the left hand down, and then inhale that right arm high, and then flip the palm and take a wrap. Inhale that right hand high, and then replace the hands. Bring the right hand high, and then inhale the left arm high, and then flip the palm and take a wrap. Inhale that left arm high, left hand comes back down. So if you needed the variation, you would have the block here, and then you would lift that hand and you can flip it and take a wrap. And then we're going to go ahead and remove our props. And we're going to come back out into a tabletop. So in tabletop, this is where we have a couple different postures here that really are about not only removing the extra weight or pressure off of our lower back, but it's really great in order for us to get baby to get baby out of being sunny side up. So if you're having back pain because baby has their back to your spine, so your spine is spine to one another, this is a great way to go. If baby is breached, this is also some great movement in order to get baby to hopefully turn to a head down position too. So, and these are all natural ways you can do it. So you're really just benefiting your body by moving it, and you're not doing anything too strenuous in order to stress the body out. So we're meeting in a tabletop, and we've got a couple different things we're going to be doing in this posture. So your feet are flat, the tops of your feet are flat, so you're not curling your toes in. Your knees are directly in line with your hips, and your wrists are in line with your shoulders. And from here, all I want you to do is come back and forward first. We're just moving in order to awaken the body. And as we move, I want to just inform you, when we're pregnant and as we move along our pregnancy, we're releasing hormones. And we have some of these hormones released all the time, but one of the hormones that we release during pregnancy, we produce relaxin. And relaxin is a hormone that makes you more flexible, believe it or not. And I will be real with you, I am a very flexible person with or without pregnancy. The only thing is that you need to be aware of your flexibility, and your joints are then going to move in ways that you're not expecting. You can go ahead and come back to stillness, and now we're going to do a few hip circles. So you're going to bring your right hip back to your right heel, and then you're going to come around to the left and then come forward. We're going to do 8 on each side just for us to really awaken the body here. This really helps in stretching out the hip muscles, and it also brings a little relief to the lower back as well. So with relaxin, we have to remember that our bodies are doing something that we're not quite used to. And so we need to be mindful of how to move our bodies and to the limits that we have. Relaxin is released in order to improve the joints of our hips in order for us to be able to deliver baby, for us to be able to move our legs in a way that we can open up our pelvis for baby. So by doing that, obviously the hormone does not pick and choose where it's going to help the joints. It then helps all your joints. Okay. And then that's it on that side. So we're going to go ahead and turn counterclockwise in this case. So we're going to start going to the left and back, around, and then to center. So go ahead and bring your hips to the left, back, around, and forward. Inhale, exhale back. One more. Wonderful. So we're going to come back to center. We're going to do one more pose in this posture. We're going to do cat-cow. So go ahead and drop your belly. Look up. Your chin is up. This is a great posture to get that relief in your lower back. And on your exhale, you're going to round the spine, chin to your chest, tucking the pelvis. Inhale, your pelvis comes up. You're going to look up. Chin is up. That curvature of your spine comes about. And then exhale, chin to your chest, curling your pelvis in. Inhale, look up, gaze up, keep that chin up. Exhale, rounding out the spine. One more time, inhale, look up, chin up. Exhale, tucking the pelvis, chin to your chest. And then inhale, coming to neutral. So you should already start feeling a little bit of relief as we move. This is not something that we would feel right away. So I just want you to keep in mind that, this is something you would feel right away. It's not something you have to wait a couple days to feel it. You should already start feeling that release, especially in your lower back. And then with these movements, especially cat-cow, you feel it in your shoulders and your spine. You feel all that pretty quickly, and it feels really, really good. So let's go ahead and meet me in a downward facing dog. So in down dog, you want to make sure that your hands are up or are flat on the mat. If you're having any trouble while we're doing these exercises, having your palms flat, it might be from the fluid retention in your wrists. We have it all over our bodies when we're pregnant, but we have carpal tunnel when we're pregnant sometimes. So if that's the case, you can tent your fingers in order for you to not put so much pressure on your wrists, or you can put your hands as fists. And that's a great way to take the pressure off your wrists. So let's go ahead. I'm going to keep my palms flat for right now. It works out fine for me. See what works for you, and you can modify and do that variation for yourself. And then come into a downward facing dog. So in down dog, your feet are hip distance apart. Your heels, the goal is to touch the mat with your heels, but you may not be able to do that. So keeping that in mind, that each day that you practice, you may notice that your heels come a little bit closer to the mat, and that's great. But don't be too hard on yourself if you're not quite there yet. Making sure you continue to breathe. And then I want you to go ahead and walk your dog out. Bending each knee, just getting the blood flowing in your legs. And then on the next inhale, I want you to bring that right foot in between your hands, but because of your belly, your foot might be closer to your right hand, and your back heel is going to come back parallel to the back of your mat. And then you're gonna move slowly because I don't want you moving too quickly to come up. So bring your hands onto your right knee or your right thigh, and then coming up into a warrior two. So you're looking over your right middle finger. Your right hand or your left hand is reaching out behind you. So one straight line from both your fingertips from front to back. You're bending that front knee. That front knee is over that right ankle, and your right knee is going towards your right pinky toe. It's not going into your big toe. So you don't want to compromise the health of your knee. You're looking over. Your shoulders are stacked over your hips. This position is really great to strengthen the pelvis, strengthen the leg muscles, and take the pressure off that lower back. Inhale, come straighten out, bring your arms up high. Exhale, coming down again into warrior two. Inhale, bring your arms up high. Exhale, bend once again. Inhale one more time. Exhale, come back into that warrior two. And then bring your hands to the mat and bring that right foot back. Meet me in that downward facing dog. Once again, you can walk your dog out here, just stretching out the legs. Then on the next inhale, bringing that left foot pretty much next to the left hand, and then that back foot is parallel to the mat. And then you're bringing your hands to your left thigh, slowly coming up and opening up into a warrior two. Remember, your knee is in line with your ankle. Your knee is going towards your left pinky toe. Your back leg is nice and strong. That back foot is parallel to the back of your mat, so it's not at an incline at all. Your arms are reaching out in opposite directions. You're looking over your left middle finger, and your shoulders are stacked over the hips. So you're not going forward or back. That would put extra strain on your back muscles. So you're keeping yourself nice and firm, keeping in mind that baby is definitely throwing off your center of gravity, but remember to tuck the pelvis. You're engaging the glutes, and that, when you engage the glutes, it actually helps your back. It saves your back from straining. So making sure that you're keeping those muscles nice and tight. Inhale, straighten out that front leg, reach the hands up high. Exhale, come back to warrior two. Inhale, come back into to straighten your legs. Exhale, bending the knees, bending the front knee. Inhale one more time. Hands are up over your head. Exhale, bending that front knee. And then bringing the hands back to the mat and bringing that foot back into a downward facing dog. Once again, bending each knee one at a time. We're going to go ahead and bring that right foot next to the right hand, and we're going to slowly come up and come into that warrior two. From warrior two, I want you to grab your block, bring it on the outside of your foot. Keep that front knee bent. You're getting into a side angle pose, but you're using your block, and you're keeping the bend, but you're gonna bring that left hand up high. Make room for baby, strengthening in your back, engaging the legs and the glutes, reaching that left arm high. And then bring that hand back down. Move your block over. You're going to use it on the other side. Bring that right leg back to meet the left. One more breath here. Exhale. Now this time bringing the left leg next to the left foot. That back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Slowly coming into a warrior two. Rising up. Remembering to engage the muscles of the back leg. Making sure your knee is in line with the ankle. And then keeping the bend in the front knee. Making sure that you bring the block next to your left foot. And then inhale. that right arm high. Breathing into this posture, feeling the openness in your chest, using your legs for the stability. And then on the next exhale, bringing your hands back down to the mat. Keep your block nearby and bringing your right leg to meet your left leg to meet your right. On the next inhale, bring that right leg back in front. We're going to go into that warrior two once again. You can bring that block close by and then go ahead and come up into a warrior two. And then bringing into side angle pose on the right, keeping that bend in that front knee. And then go ahead and straighten out that right leg for triangle. And when you straighten out that leg, I feel even a bigger stretch on the left side of my hip. Then reaching that left arm high to the sky. On the next exhale, bringing your hands back to the mat and bringing that right foot back to the left. Taking a few breaths here. Inhale that left leg forward. You can move that block already and preparing for that warrior two. On the next exhale, bringing that left hand down, right arm reaches high for side angle pose on the left. And then straightening out for triangle. Opening up, maybe feeling the extra stretch on the right side of your hip. Bringing both hands to the mat. Move the block out of the way and meeting me in that downward facing dog. Our next posture is going to be a pigeon pose. It's going to be a supported pigeon. And now, of course, if you don't need the extra support right now, you don't have to feel like you have to do it. But I want to give you that as an option, simply because it gives you the extra support you might need as you progress through pregnancy. So on the next inhale, bringing that right foot forward. And you can bring a block to sit on. That may not be as comfortable, but that is an option if that's something that you want to do. If not, you can roll your blanket up like so and bring it under your pelvis. If you still have room to move forward with your belly, feel free to do so. You would have to go slowly and see where you want to go with this pose. You can stay here on your forearms. We're going to stay in this posture for a few minutes just to receive all the benefits in it. But as you can see, I have my shin parallel to the front of the mat. Your foot might come in a little bit more. The goal is definitely to get the shin parallel at some point, but that's slowly but surely getting to that process. If you need a little extra room, you can bring your bolster in front of you and bring your hands on your bolster if you need the extra room. And of course, you can bring even a block and put your head on the block. So we're going to be here a few minutes. Remember to make room for baby, so you have to figure out what works for you in whichever variation that you go for. stay another minute in this posture, and then we'll move to the next side. The next inhale, let's go ahead and move our props out of the way that are in front of us. You can actually leave the blanket if you have it in the middle. You can leave it where it is and then bring that leg back. Meet me in a downward facing dog. And down dog, it's great because we're pushing ourselves away from the mat. So we're engaging those arm muscles, bringing our shoulders up and back, but we're also taking the pressure off of our back. It's a very great grounding posture and a great way to just connect back to your body. So go ahead and move that blanket if it's slid or doesn't match where it needs to be like last time. And again, positioning your feet wherever your practice is today. If your feet are closer to your right thigh, your right foot is or your left foot is closer to your right thigh, that's okay. And then bring in whatever props you need in order for this to be the most comfortable pigeon for you right now. It's a great hip opener, so this prepares you. A lot of these postures are not only for back pain, but great for preparing for labor itself. And then go ahead and bring your head down. We're going to go ahead and begin to inhale back up, moving our bolster out of the way, and bringing that left leg back. You can move the blanket out of the way and meet me in a downward facing dog. Go ahead and walk your dog out. And then the next inhale, bring that right foot forward. We're going into a low lunge twist. So you're gonna keep that back foot. I'm not gonna be in the proper form just yet. I'm just explaining. Your back leg, your back heel will be up. You're bending that right knee, the left leg is back. And you're gonna inhale, open. So these twists open up the body. We're not staying very long on this. One more breath. And then you're gonna go ahead and bring that right foot back. It's important to twist. It's important for the body to get those movements. The more we avoid certain movements, it'll just compress your spine and it closes off the body and causes more rigidity. So we're trying to do these little twists here and there, and there's some of them are supported and we're seated, and some of them are putting a little more effort. Now, of course, you can keep that back leg down if you need to. So bringing that left leg forward. If you needed to have your back leg down, you can. Keeping your foot, your heel lifted, like so. But if you're able to in your practice, lift that back leg. So you're in that low lunge and then twisting open to the left. One more deep breath in and out. And go ahead and bring your hand back down to the mat. Bringing that left foot back to meet the right. Go ahead and walk your dog out again. Go ahead and take a break, drink some water really quick. And we're gonna do a supported child's pose. So you're welcome to use your bolster, and I'll show you different options. So of course, you can bring, just like a regular child's pose, you can bring your knees out and your feet are in and your big toes are touching. And then you're slowly coming forward and laying your forehead on the mat. Or if you need just a little bit extra, you can bring one block under where your forehead would go, and you can lay your head on that block. Making sure you're not letting your belly fall forward and therefore putting that extra strain on your back. You want to make sure that you keep your spine neutral. Or of course, you can stack two blocks on top of each other with the same idea. Or you can bring your bolster in front of you. Now, of course, be mindful of where your belly is, so leave room for belly. And you can lay right on your bolster. We'll be here for a few minutes, so halfway through your posture, you would move your head to the other side. This restorative posture is great no matter where you are in your yoga practice. You could be pregnant or not, but this is a great way to just lower your pulse and relax the mind. And if you are doing strenuous exercise, you feel overwhelmed in what you're doing, coming into child's pose really does help that. So you would then lay, in this case, I'm laying my left cheek and my left ear onto the bolster. I'm extending my arms out. You can, of course, bring your arms by your side. Palms would be up. But in my case, I would like to put my arms forward with my palms down. And as you can see, there's room here for your baby. You can move the bolster up a little bit more if you need to, but then your back is also supported here, so you're not compromising your back in any way. And then I'll let you know when we're gonna turn to the other side. If you're on the bolster, then you would turn your head. If you've got your forehead on the mat, then you don't have to worry about my cue on this one. If you've got your cheek on the bolster, go ahead and turn to the other side. So now my right cheek and my right ear are on the bolster, and I'm looking to my left. And when I turn my head in child's pose, it actually helps with any strain I might have, any tension I might be holding in my neck. It's a good way to relax that portion of my body as well. Next inhale coming up, moving the bolster out of the way. We're gonna go ahead and just do a quick stretch of our legs. So we're gonna get into a wide angle seated forward fold. So this is gonna have a lot of variations just because we are all at different points in our pregnancy. So, and you're welcome to sit on a blanket if you need the extra cushion. Of course, you could use nothing in front of you and just go forward and forward fold. Releasing that tension in the lower back. So we hold a lot of pressure, and so when we get in this posture, it releases that pressure in the back. And also, because we have the weight of our belly in front of us, like I was telling you before, we compromise our spine because our vertebrae has a tendency to start to come forward, and so it causes that back pain. So when we do this posture, it takes away from that pressure. Now you can use a block in front of you and just put your head on it. You can stack 2 blocks, one on top of the other. That also gives you enough space with your baby. Or if you really want to, if you're really far along in your pregnancy and you need the space, you can grab your bolster and go ahead and bring it forward. You can keep your hands to your side or bring them over your legs, and you could just rest in this way. And you're not compromising your back either. Next inhale, come up. Moving all your props out of the way. Now, we are going to prepare for our Shavasana. So, this is my favorite Shavasana to do with my pregnant mamas because you're not laying flat on your back. Now, if you're in your first trimester, you can lay flat on your back. It may not feel comfortable for you, especially if you're experiencing a lot of nausea. Maybe it's not feeling so good. But further along in your pregnancy, you do not want to lay flat on your back. So after your first trimester, you want to then always have a wedge or be at an incline. And the reason being is that not only can you have heartburn or acid reflux, which doesn't feel so good, on top of that, we actually obviously have a growing baby and a growing uterus, which are heavy on our bodies. So when we lay flat, we're then compromising. So we're putting weight on our major vessels, and so we don't have that blood flow going up back to the heart, and so then we compromise blood flow through the placenta and obviously to the baby. So we need to be at an incline with a wedge, or in this case our Shavasana will be at a full incline like this. And so you're gonna put, as you can see, 1 block tall, 1 block short. You're gonna put your bolster right on top of that. And then you are going to bring your blanket. Now, I'm gonna open up my blanket and I'm gonna put my feet in bound angle pose like butterflies. So the soles of the feet are together, your knees are out. If you have extra blocks or some books, you can put them under your knees for the extra support if you need it. Or you can put your blanket over you and then bunch it up under your knees. And that feels good too. If it's warm out and you don't need a blanket, you can bring your blanket across and tuck it under. And all you're gonna do here is lay back. So we'll be in the Shavasana for a few minutes, and this is a good way to just reconnect with your body. Come back to your intention. And take those long inhales in and exhales out. Go ahead and begin to blink your eyes open. You can move, if you have the blanket on top of you, you can move it out of the way. And then go ahead and turn to one side and then push yourself up with the upper hand. And go ahead and meet me in easy pose. We're just gonna reconnect to ourselves here. Inhale your arms up over your head. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Keeping the eyes closed. Continue to breathe in and out. Remember what you've learned in this class about taking time for yourself, taking time on your mat, letting go of things that stress, and bringing in things that bring you love. When I'm in this place and you're in this place, we are one, and I am forever grateful. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.